I think there's also the really real possibility too that they might not grow.
Mm-hmm.
They might not change. They might not ever become who you want them to be. But what are you doing to your potential by not letting go of people who aren't supposed to be there?
What if, imagine a world where fear didn't hold on to you? What would you be capable of? What would be possible to have in your world? Who would you be? And what would you do in that skin?
Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And it's Emilia.
Welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth-minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed the last episode, 232, Why You Need Relationship Standards. 2.0. We did an episode. Needed it. For today, 233, Motivation Monday, Overcoming the Fear of Outgrowing People. Whew. This is something that Emilia and I have heard time and time and time again. I really believe it is the biggest fear that people have. It's, I don't want to do the work on myself because I'm afraid of losing the people in my life. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid of outgrowing them. I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of not having those people anymore, because what does that mean about me or about them? And we've seen this limit so many people, and we've seen it jeopardize their potential of who they could be because they were too afraid of losing and of letting people go. So for this quick Motivation Monday, we're going to dive into how do you overcome that fear and what does that mean for you?
It's going to be very short because to be quite frank on this topic, I feel like we've talked so much about this, but I think overcoming ensues a process. There's a process of overcoming that fear of outgrowing people. Number one, let's acknowledge the fact that that is the biggest human fear, like number one, hands down, especially unconscious fear. And I want to just acknowledge that to our listeners and say that we see you, because that is, to be alone is such a terrifying fear. And when you feel that way, it is detrimental, because we have parts of us inside of us that deeply crave connection, and that can look so different on how we go about that. Every single person is different. So we see you in that. And also we see what's possible when you can overcome the fear of outgrowing people. Because likely those people, and I'm going to validate some of y'all real hard right now, because of the fact that deep down you likely know that the people that are around you don't serve you in the way in which you need them.
That is one of the hardest mirrors for all of us to face, but you know it in your gut.
Yeah.
You know those people in your life who probably would not be there if you didn't have the history with them that you did, whether it's family or friends or old coworkers or whatever. Yeah. You know you would never have them in your life if the circumstances weren't what they were. Yeah. Or you know that becoming the person that you need to become, that you want to become, that you aspire to become, is going to require you to let go of them. Yeah. It's one or the other. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen exceptions from that. And I'll give you a quick example. I have this client that I've been working with for over a year, and she has blown me away with the changes that she has made in her life. She went from being suicidal. She had just had a suicide attempt. She was severely anorexic, and she was struggling so much, has had massive trauma in her life. And she's completely done a 360. Like, she's unrecognizable now. And she's battling this because her relationship, she's now the healthy one in the relationship. She's growing and she's investing in herself and she's doing all of these amazing things, and her partner isn't. Yeah. And now they're having tension because she's afraid to let go of her partner,
Right.
because she knows they're not on the same playing field anymore, but that story of the relationship and everything this partner did for her and so on and so forth is really keeping her stuck.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people struggle with that because it's the letting go or having to challenge the people to grow more with you. And that is that's so fear inducing because of the fact that you might know deep down inside that if you do challenge them or ask them to grow with you, they might actually not be able to get themselves out of whatever circumstances that are holding them back. And that's terrifying because that will actually show you what you're capable of, but they might not be yet. And so that fear keeps us really, really grounded in quite the anchor. And here's the thing. If you're someone that is struggling to overcome that fear, it's because you're giving that fear validation. You're giving that fear validation to a detriment though, because you're not allowing yourself to lean into what is possible for you. And so for this Monday, Motivation Monday episode, I really want to encourage people to think about this. What if, imagine a world where fear didn't hold on to you? What would you be capable of? What would be possible to have in your world? Who would you be? And what would you do in that skin? Because that, who you're going to become, who you're capable of becoming, that has to entice you and alarm you that you're not in that direction more than outgrowing your current people. Because what if that version of you actually does inspire them to grow? What if you leaning into that version of yourself and overcoming that fear through the help of these podcasts, through the help of coaching, through the help of therapy, through the help of whatever it is that's going to get you there? What if that's actually your actions is what is going to let those people have the permission that they desperately crave and need to come to you and to grow with you? A lot of us don't consider that alternative reality. And I find that it's because we're so trapped in our own fear. And so I want to paint that picture for you because I've seen so many people actually overcome that fear. And as a result, they start to lean into that version of them that they're capable of, that they were so terrified of becoming because it might require them to outgrow someone. And ironically, because they were willing to lean into that version of themselves, the people that they thought they'd have to let go and leave behind have actually grown as a result with them.
I think there's also the really real possibility too that they might not grow. They might not change. They might not ever become who you want them to be. But what are you doing to your potential by not letting go of people who aren't supposed to be there? I think that's a really hard truth. And I think that's something that people struggle with more than anything else, is having to acknowledge that maybe this person isn't ever going to change. Maybe this person isn't supposed to be in my life. And what does that mean?
Yeah.
And giving yourself the permission to maybe just let that be true.
Yeah.
This reminds me of, and I'm not religious at all, but it's the picture. So that's why I'm using this as the example. There's this picture that I saw, or this meme or digital asset, of a little girl holding this like ratty old teddy bear.
Oh.
And there's a picture of like Jesus Christ sitting in front of her with a massive teddy bear behind his back, and he's asking her to give him the teddy bear. And the picture is basically saying, you know, letting go of your past will allow you to bring in something more extraordinary. And I said this exact thing to this client. What if you're sacrificing everything you possibly could have by holding on to what you know, by holding on to what's there and what's familiar to you? What are you doing to your life and to your future by doing that? And I think that's really hard for people to grasp and really hard for people to acknowledge, because there's this sense of guilt and shame and like, I don't want to let them go.
Yeah.
I don't want to perceive that I'm better than them, or I don't want them being mad at me thinking that, oh, she's superior, she doesn't need us, or he doesn't need us anymore.
Right.
That might happen. If you've been a part of this show, and if you've been a part of this mission, and of our community, you know that Emilia and I speak very frankly about things because we want you to know the truth. And we want to be those people in your life who are honest and who will also help you through the reality.
Right.
The reality is there are going to be people who villainize you.
Yeah.
The reality is there are going to be people who are very hurt by you letting them go and by the choices that you make and what you know in your heart is best for you because of the impact that it has on them. It is a reality and it does hurt. And you will be okay. And you will get through it. And this is something that I've had to learn in my life too. And now, thankfully, because I've done it, because I was willing to let people go, I've been able to become the woman that I am and help other people to do the same. And this started with family challenges I was having that I've really overcome and I'm working towards, and I'm helping them now. Like, it completely transformed. And past relationships and past friendships, if I wasn't willing to let them go, I wouldn't have been able to attract what did come into my life, which genuinely is so much better for me. You have to hold on to that faith.
Yeah.
That me becoming this person, me doing the things that I'm doing, and me letting go of what is no longer serving me will bring me what is meant for me. And that is a really hard belief to hold on to. I'm speaking from experience. I'm not.
Same.
It's easier said than done. But if you give yourself the permission to believe it 1%, 5%, given evidence, that belief will grow. And when you can start leaning more into who you are and who you want to be, and letting go of what is not right for you, it is unbelievable what will come for you. My life as it is right now, I am the most holistically well-developed, fulfilled, happiest, successful that I have ever been. I have more than I ever thought I would ever have in my life. I am more than I ever believed I was possible of being. The only reason for that is because I was willing to do this. And then Emilia came into my life, and Alan and Kevin came into my life, and all of these really amazing people who helped me develop into who I am. And we're building what we're building now as a result of it, because I was willing to say, if I have to let you go, I will let you go, because I deserve more. I deserve better. I deserve to see what I'm capable of.
Yeah. And I believe when you have the right people in your life, it's easier done than said.
Ooh.
So that's my final
That was sexy
episode takeaway for all of y'all on this Monday. But Bianca, it's so true what you said. Like, genuinely, it's so huge. And you have become so much more because you've been willing to overcome that fear. So I wish that to all of our listeners, and for that to be proof that it's possible for you too.
My episode suggestion for this episode is 136, The Truth About Depression. And the reason I chose that episode was because you can slip into a depressive episode when you do this. I know I did. And being able to navigate through that will make that journey easier. So that is a phenomenal episode for that, for this. And if this is something that you are struggling with, please reach out to Emilia and I. We both have spots for clients. We're both still onboarding clients. If you're not sure and want to do a free call with us personally or together, we have opportunities for that too. We're not going to try to sell you anything. This is literally just for you to have a space to share and to get help. So if that's something you're interested in, click the link in the show notes, and we will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.